This is John Black, Super Chemist. I don't have a editor yet, so bear with me here. I actually found a conspiracy, a fraud on YouTube, ODD Reality. This guy took, and I'm gonna put a his computer address for the video I'm talking about. This guy put up a video, right? And he steals from Cody's lab, all right? Cody's lab, I'm sure if you're on my channel, you'll know him. He's on YouTube. He's great scientist, you know what I mean? He does all kinds of stuff. You can tell the guy graduated from college and blah, blah, blah. He's, he knows his stuff. He did a video where I'm going to put a video. I'm going to put the computer address of Cody's lab. I suggest you go watch him. He's on YouTube. I don't know if he's on BitChute, but great videos. Go watch him. Anyways, I'm going to put a computer address for his video too, the one that ODD Reality stole, right? And I'm not even doing this video. I'm not even pissed because he stole Cody's videos, okay? If he would have stolen and he's trying to, help people, but he's just basically lying, because what he did was he clipped part of Cody's labs, right, to prove that you cannot start fires in a vacuum. And Cody's lab did a video called "Can You Start a Fire in a Vacuum?" And he shows how he can start it on certain things, with just atmospheric pressure, and he puts a vacuum on it, and he shows that he can't start it. He has a laser that heats it up real hot enough to start it on fire. And he shows how you cannot start it regularly, right? And so OD Reality clipped that part of the video, put it on his video, and said, look, even Cody's lab says you can't start a fire in a vacuum. But the end of the video, Cody adds an oxidizer, because you don't need oxygen to start a fire. You need an oxidizer. And his ODD Reality is one of those flat earthers saying that we didn't go to the moon and we're living on a flat earth. Whether we went to the moon or not, I don't know. I mean, there's actually 25% chance we didn't go to the moon. But to make up BS saying, because what his videos is about is saying that rockets can't work in space and because combustion doesn't work. So how are you going to have your rockets going off? At the end of Cody's lab's video, though, like I said, he was unsuccessful. Then he adds an oxidizer. He shows that it starts on fire in a vacuum, and then he explains how, this wasn't very good, but if you were in space and you wanted to do a rocket, you would have a container around it. That way, when it, it'll produce all this stuff and be blown out and propel it, you know what I mean? And that part he cuts out, and that's the part he's saying is impossible. So it's not like he took his video and he's trying to prove his point. He cut out the part that is showing that rockets exist, showing the part where Cody's lab is actually telling you how rockets work in a vacuum, showing you that he can light a fire in a vacuum. And ODD Reality cuts that part out and says, see, even Cody's lab agrees that you cannot have a fire in a vacuum, and you cannot, you know what I mean? He cut out the part. He's just like, that's like so unreal. And then the other thing was, Cody's lab did a video. I didn't find it yet, so I don't know if I'll be able to put the address down, but where he puts a fan in a vacuum and he puts a feather in there. He turns on the fan and it obviously blows the feather, but when he takes a vacuum on, he starts up the fan, nothing happens, because there's no air for it to blow. He's like, see, that proves. And now Cody's lab took that video of Cody's lab and said, see, Cody's lab just proved rockets don't work in a vacuum because that fan can't push that feather. When a fan and a rocket work totally different, rocket carries its own propellant. You know what I mean? It doesn't need air. Air actually is a hindrance on a rocket because you have friction. In space, you have no friction, so it actually worked better in a vacuum or rocket. You know what I mean? So And what's funny is ODD Reality's channel on YouTube is a conspiracy channel. You know what I mean? He's talking about flat earthers and how they're covering up the moon landing and that kind of stuff, how everything's a conspiracy. And he's the one creating the conspiracy. And he's not just doing it, you know, because he believes or he whatever. You could see he edited the part out that proves that he's lying. And then said, look, Cody, and then he's like, Cody's lab agrees with me, even though the rest of the videos clearly says that you can have a rocket. You know, Cody's lab actually even explains how a rocket would work in a vacuum. And like I said, it actually worked better in a vacuum because there's no air resistance. As long as I'm on this subject and I'm here BSing and hitting and on or whatever, I'm going to go over some of this moon landing stuff or whatever, because there are a couple things why I'm 25% unsure that we went to the moon. One thing is Neil Armstrong will not swear on the Bible that he did it. I mean, a guy offered him $5,000 to do it, and he wouldn't do it. And they were even like, we'll even give us money to a charity or whatever. You know what I mean? He's like, no, I can't do it on the Bible. Another thing is that, and this is, I swear to God, this is true. An astronaut, a real astronaut, so you can't fake it. You know what I mean? He's a real astronaut during an interview, and he actually says we cannot go to the moon anymore because that technology that we had back in the 60s, we destroyed that technology, and it's lost now, and it's not viable, you know, to get that technology back. What the hell does that mean? It's a fucking tin can with a fucking propellant in it. That's all it is. You're rocketing through space. It's not, you know, what technology? There is no technology. The only information that they had 2 rockets that were about, or at least 2 rockets. I think they sent up more after that to do the Van Allen belts. But they were only like 4-foot rockets, 6-inch diameter. They weren't giant, big rockets. They sent them up to fly around and, you know, see how the Van Allen belts, what the radiation was like, you know, to like map it. So that, if that is the technology that they lost, the information that they lost, he says technology, but if he meant information, if that's the information, those rockets, I could buy those rockets and make them and send them up. You know what I'm saying? They weren't no big deal, man. So what technology, what the heck does that even mean? Why would he say that? Like, the other thing is pictures. An odd thing is they never take a lot of pictures. I mean, if you're going to go all the way to whatever, an extra couple things of film would cost you nothing. They all are kind of perfect for the way that they were mounted on their suits. They are kind of perfect. But the thing is that the crosshairs, you have couple of the pictures where the crosshairs were etched, like you could think of it as a knife or a pen, and you go onto the camera, and on the outside of the lens you actually draw or etch into the plastic, you know, on the camera that you're shooting through, so that every picture should have that on there. You know what I mean? If it isn't on there, you know, covering up the picture, right, then something's wrong. Someone photoshopped something. There's a few of them where the crosshairs were behind. How, if I etched it into the cameras, right into the lens, how is the picture before that etching? You know what I mean? And the other thing is many astronauts that I've seen interviewed, and they'll be asking them about the Van Allen belts, and I don't think 9 out of 10 astronauts know what the Van Allen belt is. And if I was an astronaut, first of all, you have to be intelligent, you have to be fit, you know what I mean? You don't have to just be fit, you have to be intelligent to be an astronaut. And to go into outer space and, you know, Van Allen belt, that's a serious thing. That's like saying I'm going to go over to Chernobyl and just sit there for 6 hours, you know what I mean, or sit there for 3 hours. I'm going to know, you know, if you have people going into Chernobyl and you ask them about the meltdown over there, they're going to know. They're not going to be like, oh, well, I don't know what that is. I'm not, what, you know. And these astronauts, they're asking them, well, what do you think about the Van Allen belts when you're going through there? Well, what do you mean, what's a Van Allen belt? Like, how can you not know what the Van Allen belts is if you went through them? What kind of person, you know what I mean? They don't know what the Van Allen belts is? What is your IQ level? You're an astronaut, for God's sake. How can you not know what the Van Allen belts are? And the other things, I'm going to go to some of the stupid things just because they're so ludicrous and retarded. I'm going to go over them. There's been 20 interviews with astronauts on this space station and on Earth, and they're saying that you know, they're trying to get technology so that we can finally make it through the thermosphere. They've said it many times, like we've never done it before. You know what I mean? But I think what they're saying is that we're studying it so that we can make it through safely. When the astronauts went back in the 70s, they didn't really do a safe job. They were kind of relying on luck, you know what I mean, to get through the Van Allen belts. I'm sure they took the you know, the weakest part of the belt and tried to go through there or whatever. But a lot of it was just relying on luck, you know what I mean? And that's what they're saying. The astronauts aren't saying, oh, well, we never passed the thermosphere. They're saying that to do it safely, you know what I mean? I'm not saying that you know, I don't know if we went to the moon. I can't prove it, you know what I mean? But just because they say that, or we're trying to study it so we can make it through it, what they could be saying is that to do it safely, you know what I mean? Another thing is when they took the picture of the astronaut and the sun is on the other side of the space shuttle thing, the LEM or whatever that they were getting out of, you know. He's going down the steps, and the guy's already out, and he's taking a picture of him. And you can see him clear as day. He's got his white suit on, and he's, you know, and the ground is black as heck because the sun is on the other side of the ship. So the guy is in the shadow of the LEM as he's coming down the ladder, but you can see him plain as day. And everyone is saying, he should be black as coal. You shouldn't be able to see him. He's not in the sunlight. You know, a 3-year-old kid can figure this one out. I just don't understand how people think, man. I mean, you go out at 9 o'clock in the morning, or say 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night, you know, before the sun goes down and after the sun comes up, right? And any 5-year-old kid can walk around his house on a shadowed part, and he is not completely black, okay? I can see just as good as it's daytime. The sun bounces off of everything and whatever. You're not totally black in the shadow. When I go under a tree, people aren't like, oh, where'd that dude go? I can't see him anymore. It's total daylight out, but he's in the shade, so I can't see him. That's retarded, okay? That makes no sense, all right? You can see people in the shadow, all right? Especially if you're on a white moon, you know what I mean, and you have a white suit on that is specially made to bounce, you know, light off of. You're going to glow like whatever. And the reason why the dirt is totally dark is because there's no light, there's no buildings or anything. There's nothing up high to shine the light back down. All the stuff that gets reflected off of the moon goes up. It's not going to do a U-turn and come back down and hit the moon. It's only going to hit the guy. You know, it can only go in one direction. You know, that's just common sense, man. And another one is the shadows going in different ways. They'll show the shadows. One shadow will be going, you know, say at a 90 degree to something, and another shadow would be going 85 degrees to it. Another one will be going 75 degrees. Another one 92 degrees. You know, they're not all parallel. Okay? Again, a little 5-year-old can go outside and look at stuff and say, you can go outside right now, anywhere, and look at the shadows. And if you don't see the shadows going in different ways, then go somewhere else. You cannot go through a day where you don't look out and at least see one place where the shadows are all whatever. Probably most places the shadows are all out of whack. None of them are exactly parallel. They're all off by whatever. But you need a bunch of stuff. Like, oh, there's you know, curves and, you know, whatevers. You'll see. The shadows they're not all parallel. That's not the way life works. And all you have to do is be 5 years old and go outside and look.